The new year brings new health goals and wealth goals. Protecting your identity is an important step. Your info is in endless places that could expose you to identity theft, leading to lost funds. LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Resolve to make identity health and wealth part of your New Year's goals with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year. Visit lifelock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
New Year, same extra value meals at McDonald's. So now get 2 snack wraps, plus fries, and a medium soft drink for just $8.
For limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Hawaii, Alaska, and California, and for delivery.
Whether you bond over streaming binge-worthy videos, watching sports recaps, video gaming, or by unplugging altogether, the 2026 Lincoln Nautilus Hybrid helps keep you connected throughout your journey. Learn more at Lincoln.com. Available connectivity features and functionality vary by model. Package pricing, trials, and term lengths vary by model. Video streaming and games are only available while parked.
I didn't think the pain from the shingles rash would affect simple, everyday tasks like bathing, getting dressed, or even walking around. I was wrong. Though not everyone at risk will develop it, 99% of people over the age of 50 already have the virus that causes shingles, and it could reactivate at any time. I developed it, and the blistering rash lasted for weeks. Don't learn the hard way, like I did. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today. Sponsored by GSK.
Anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking.
Back at it again with another episode of Shades of Blue. My name is Carrie Robinson. With me is Thad Bell, David Greenwald, and Robert Russerts. And guys, it is at the end of the offseason. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. We have a head coach. David, we don't get to talk to you very much. So what are your initial thoughts and reactions?
Pass. I mean,
okay. You're the one that has a hot take almost always, man. Come on.
I am underwhelmed. I don't hate it, but it doesn't excite me. It's just a very meh signing.
How about you, Robert?
Yeah, I mean, okay. So what do we want Sporting Kansas City to be? Do we want them to be something, a club that's have more of a presence on the international level? Well, in some ways, this coaching assignment fits that, right? You know, he's got international experience. He's not American. He maybe has different contacts than our previous guys have had. So that may be a step in the positive if that's what we want. And I think we do, right? But otherwise, yeah, his time in Chicago wasn't great. We know it wasn't with a great franchise at the time. So, yeah, I mean, it's kind of meh, but a step in the right direction.
I mean, by having wanted to step in the right direction, but is it an improvement in terms of what we're going to see on the pitch?
Time will tell, David. Time will tell. That's the answer everybody is going to hate to hear, but it's the answer, right? Time will tell.
Yeah. Nobody really knows, right? I mean, the fact that they gave him a 2.5-year contract, 3 seasons, 2 real seasons and a mini season when they do the switch over to the new schedule.
So do you think he asked for 17 and they just said no, 2.5?
17.
Peter Vermees.
Oh.
Who?
Right. Already we're saying who?
I just wasn't getting the numerical reference. At least it wasn't some this or that number thing. But yeah, I don't know, man. Again, you're right. Time will tell. Maybe he comes in, he's great. Maybe he comes in and he's shit, but we won't know that for at least, I think, most of the season, if not all of the season, because they're going to be building this roster all season. It's not going to happen in the next 20 days unless there's an amazing amount of signings that they have lined up that we don't know about.
Should we be looking at transfer market Swiss players to see who he's
Right,
bringing with
exactly.
him?
So, well, what we should do is talk about what we do know, right? And what we do know is that he got fired by the Chicago Fire after pretty underwhelming performance over there. But in his defense, Chicago sucks. They started to turn it around a little bit. But they were a dumpster fire franchise for a long time. But he also got fired from BSC Young Boys, which is not a dumpster fire of an organization in the Swiss League.
He got fired by Young Boys after a 3-game losing streak while they were still on top of the table.
Right.
After they saw their lead on the table diminish to 1 point, after they got embarrassed in the Champions League qualification rounds.
Well, a Swiss team is going to get embarrassed in Champions League often.
But this wasn't the Champions League. This was the qualification round.
Oh,
this was like the play-in tournament, if you will. But what else do we really know about him? And I think this is a point that is going to be maybe glossed over because of 17 years of Peter Vermees, which is that I would not expect the coaches, the managers, to have as long of a lifeline moving forward. Peter had a 17-year dynasty where he was in charge of everything. This is David Lee's team now. But the thing is, if the teams aren't performing, David Lee is going to find a coach who can manage the style that he wants them to play. Right. At a certain point, David Lee doesn't have a 17-year lifespan necessarily. So I can see a world in which, if we give him this year, this is a rebuilding year, a true rebuilding year. If things are ugly next year, Wicky's not sticking around much longer.
Right. Which is why I kind of pointed out it's the 2.5-year contract and it's the year and the mini season next year that I think he gets, right? Because I always hate it when you bring in a coach and you don't even give him a full year. But I think he gets this year and that mini season, and if he hasn't proved that he deserves to be there, he's gone. But
yeah, I mean, that's the thing. When you have a 17-year reign of someone who, you know what you're getting, right? And sometimes it was pretty darn good. Other times not so good, but then it kind of rebounded. But now it's all we don't know because David Lee, okay, there's questions for him. If you like the David Lee thing, you're probably going to more likely like this coach hiring. But again, there's that unknown quantity about both of these guys as far as those things go. So we've got to put faith in something. And what that is, we're putting our faith in right now. I think we're all kind of unsure, But of course, in the release, David Lee says attack-minded, high-energy, possession-oriented soccer. And that's what we all want to see. And that seemingly is what his teams were in the Swiss League. So positive there, but obviously the execution is what we'll be looking at.
We can also look back to his time with the U17 men's national team. In qualification, they did well. They finished second in CONCACAF. They lost to Mexico in the final for the CONCACAF championship qualification to the World Cup. In the World Cup, though, they got pretty much wiped out. They lost 2 games and drew 1-0 against Japan. They lost 4-0 to Tangiers, Algeria, somebody. They lost 4-1 to the Netherlands, or those scores could be vice versa. The only goal scored was Gianluca Busio.
Yeah, if you look at that roster, there's a few highs and there's a lot of lows of the players that, never even went pro.
Yeah. So that's the problem with those. In fairness, there's a problem with the U17 level is you're picking players, and as the longer we go, the more likely you're going to have a roster full of U17s that are pros, or at least signed to 2 teams kind of thing. But even back then, it was still not as consistent.
Yeah, okay, but that team had Joe Scally, George Bello, Busio, Danny Leva, Ricardo Pepi, Gio Reyna. I mean, these guys, Griffin Yao, they're not total scrubs.
No, they're not.
Gio Reyna was 12 at the time, but that's okay.
Gio Reyna was 16 at the time.
Just kidding.
Yeah. And I remember watching those games, and I was not overly impressed at the time. Supposedly, somebody told me that Busio really liked Wiki at that time. I don't, how much that
Wait,
applies,
wait. Does that mean Busio's coming back? Confirmed? Did you just bring? Kidding, kidding.
but Jake Davis actually was going over to visit Busio in the offseason, and I think I've seen like some Instagram post or something where he was hanging out with him. But I told Jake, bring back Busio. So maybe.
Does it ever feel like you're a marketing professional just speaking into the void? But with LinkedIn ads, you can know you're reaching the right decision makers, a network of 130 million of them, in fact. You can even target buyers by job title, industry, company, seniority, skills, and did I say job title? See how you can avoid the void and reach the right buyers with LinkedIn ads. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a free $250 credit for the next one. Get started at linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Kraft Mac and Cheese is better than 90s hip-hop. We'll remind you of your childhood without making you feel incredibly old. Kraft Mac and Cheese. Best thing ever.
I mean, so Wicky's entire career of success, he was good at young boys until he wasn't. He was pretty good at Basel in the Swiss league. I don't know. He's just not. Let me ask you this, Robert. Is this a confidence-inspiring hire?
The confidence in it is that David Lee and him seem aligned. The club has a direction where they want to go, and it's stated what kind of style he wants to play. So in those ways only, I mean, who did we expect otherwise? I mean,
right.
Who's out there that we're like would have been wowed by that we could have gotten?
So, yeah, I mean, I think that's an interesting question, right? Is when you're hiring for this kind of thing, you're either hiring an up-and-coming coach from a lower league, from a different league, right? You find a guy at USL or an international who wants to make the jump. It's a gamble. You're getting a retread coach like Wicky, still a gamble, because there's a reason he's available, right? Or you're taking a flyer on an assistant and trying to see, whether or not you can get somebody who can, is on the up and coming and can get it figured out. In a lot of ways, those are probably the more exciting and confidence inspiring picks, but they're also probably much more of a gamble. Just because you were an assistant for somebody who's good doesn't necessarily mean you'll get it sorted out. I'll tell you my personal opinion was I was kind of hoping to see something more akin to what NYCFC had done with Patrick Vieira or Dom Turin, bringing in somebody who had been like a high level assistant or, had been like Dom Turin had been an assistant for Guardiola for a long time. Patrick Vieira was an interesting, choice that was kind of maybe a little out of left field, but I think, taking a flyer on an assistant with a good pedigree would have been more exciting to myself and probably a big chunk of our fan base than hiring a guy who flamed out of his last couple of clubs.
But I also think we're thankful we did not get Preki if he even applied. Thankful we didn't get Josh Wolf if he even applied. So I'm thankful for those things. Benny Feilhaber always was thrown out there, but that was going to be a big gamble too. So I think it's glad that we didn't get some of those other things that we could have gotten.
Live CBS Sunday. Hollywood's biggest party is now bigger than ever.
Perfect. No notes.
The Golden Globes, with more stars, more glamour, more chaos, and more host Nikki Glazer.
We're gonna laugh at the celebrities that can take it and completely ignore the ones who can't. I'm just kidding. They're not safe either.
The Golden Globes, live CBS Sunday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, and streaming on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. When asked if I have confidence in this guy is like the right guy, no, absolutely I do not. I do feel like David Lee's the right guy. So the fact that he hired him means that I feel like David Lee has a plan. If Wicky, we've already said, if he doesn't do well, he's easy to jettison. We can send him back out and other people can go looking for him. And the team will have a better reason to be attractive to other players, hopefully, or other coaches in a year. Because right now,
Right.
17 players coming off of the worst season forever, all these things doesn't attract a high level coach unless they're a coach that wants to build. And Wicky, I think, is that kind of guy. I don't know how good he will be at it, but that's I think that's where we're at right now. Is I'm not saying this is the only guy they could have gotten, because I mean people will flame me like, oh, you're just an apologist for the club. No, there are other people, but this is what David Lee thought was best, and or at least best what he could get.
So I don't know if we're
Wilfred.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say Wilfred Nancy got fired this morning, right?
Yeah.
We were a week late.
After a month.
Or early, sorry.
After only a month in Scotland.
Yeah, but like, who was it? Taylor Twellman or somebody else posted he went into a very difficult situation to be successful, especially with the way he likes to do things. Right. But that's beside the point. But, are we too early into, what are we going to expect out of this for 2026? What should our expectations be? And like Thad said, it's definitely a rebuilding year unless we sign some major names in the next 20 days. We're going to have moderate expectations as much as we want our club to be back where we want it to be.
To me, the best case scenario is we slowly improve until the summer window, and they add somebody in the summer window that can put them over the top, and we can go to the playoffs and do some damage. That's, to me, probably the best scenario. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, is that they get enough players, they can improve, we can see what they're trying to do, they can entertain fans. That would you rather lose 4-3 or 1-0 type of scenario. But I just want to see the base. I want to see it build. I want to see it get better. I want to see the roster improve.
I'm also interested to see, Peter over time became more open in what he talked about and shared. Maybe you'd argue with that, Thad. Maybe he was always as open. Carrie was very open about things. I just wonder, are David Lee and Wicky going to be the same way, or are we going to get a different kind of persona out of those guys? So that'll be interesting as well.
I did tell one of the PR guys for Sporting that I hope he likes to talk to local media.
Yeah.
And we'll see. I don't know. I mean, different coaches are very different. And as far as Peter, actually, he used to be very open, and then he got more closed, and then he kind of opened back up a little.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably just the nature of the game. You get tired of people, or you get more suspicious of how things are going. But anyway.
What I think will be interesting? So Wicky came to Chicago in 2019, right?
Yeah, but his first season was 2020.
Okay. So
great season to start off as a new coach.
So Chicago declined the option of a goalkeeper that year. Does anybody know who that goalkeeper was?
You gonna tell us?
Stefan Cleveland.
Huh.
They finally get to work together.
That's funny.
Good pull, David.
Thank you.
All right. So
how did you find that?
Who needs a mic? Who needs a mic?
No, that's a good one. Yeah, I had no clue. But since we're throwing out a little trivia, this was in the press release, but Wicky is now the what number of head coach for Sporting?
Is it 5?
It is 5. How many head coaches have the Chicago Fire had?
Oh, Lord.
Like
counting interim.
5 in the last 5 years.
37?
12, although one of them was twice. So.
Who was twice? Bob Bradley?
Klopas.
Yeah, Klopas I thought was more than twice. I would be surprised if it was like 4, actually.
Well, I think he was interim a couple times also. But he also took over after Wicky. So.
Well, Thad, how do you feel about this? Are you excited? Are you overwhelmed, underwhelmed, properly whelmed? How whelmed are you?
I don't know how whelmed I can be. All right, so like literally this, I don't want to sound like, oh, I'm really happy, but with the hire because he would have not been my first choice. I don't know what the other options were. We heard one other name. That was another guy that was like from somewhere in that region. I can't remember exactly
Iceland.
where. Yeah, so that might have been a little different. And the only reason I'm down on Wiki is because yeah, the Chicago thing. But again, we know that was a shit show of a club, COVID year, et cetera, et cetera. I still think he was probably fired a little too early with the young boys, but so I am not excited because it's Wiki. I am excited because we have a whole lot of new this year. So it's going to be interesting. And you know, what's that curse? May you live in interesting times. Um, I was looking at a bunch of different things earlier, and the last of the last 13 games Vermees coached, one of them was a draw. All the rest were losses. And then Carrie came in and got some results. And if you look, when Manu got hurt and started not playing full games or he was missing time, they went to complete shit. Now I'm not saying they were great under Carrie during that time, but at least they were competitive for a lot of that time. Right now, all we have is new. We don't have a lot of depth. We don't know what that back line is going to look like. We don't know what formation Wiki's going to play. And I went back through transfer market and looked at every place he played. In every place, there was kind of a different standard formation. When he was with the national team with the 17s, it was pretty much a 4-3-3. When he was with um, Chicago, it was something different. When he was with Young Boys, it was something different. So I think he's going to come in and figure out what he wants to coach, and maybe it's with whatever players and whatever league gives him. So to me, I'm excited because it's new. We're gonna go in and we're gonna like ask these questions and we're gonna figure out how he answers these things. I gotta like start to figure out his tells to when he's lying or when he's telling the truth, um, yeah, stuff like that. So we will. To me, this is the interesting and the exciting part. Am I overwhelmed that this is such a great coach? No. Am I underwhelmed that I think he's the worst coach? No. So if you want to well me, you can put me in the whelming category.
Now, obviously, there's a lot we don't know that's going on behind the scenes.
Right.
There could be a signing or two this week. Heck, there could be three, but I would doubt it. And there's time to make signings. It's been done before.
There has to be signings.
Yeah, but I would love to see what the depth chart in David Lee's or Wiki's office looks like right now. It's like Basong playing 4 different positions if we need him. Davis playing 3 or 4.
Well,
sparse.
Yeah.
Well, right now there's 2 outside backs if you include Basong and Reynolds.
Yeah.
Or Davis, you could say there's 3 outside backs, but we don't want that scenario where those guys are playing outside back. There's only 2 center backs. Reynolds can play there once in a while. Bartlett can play there once in a while. There's a whole lot of unknown. Yes, that there should be a lot of X's in spots with the names that we have like below those X's. None of these players are bad. All of them are good players on a team that has enough talent. You can fill them in here and there for subs or for relief or when the game starts. But a lot of them should not be starting. We already know that.
I think I've seen a lot of social media posts that Pulsecamp's been out running, doing a lot of road runs and things, maybe getting ready to play sweeper keeper for real like this year. He's going to play center back and goalkeeper.
Yeah. Well, he might have to with that defense if that's Stan.
Maybe.
Somebody's asked me like recently, like a week or 2 ago, like what happens if they don't sign a coach? Well, at some point MLS takes over and says, you guys have screwed up so bad, we're going to run this thing. Of course, that's how we got Chicago at one point. Yes. Here's another question, because we have Wiki as a head coach. We don't know if there's any assistants hired. We will ask these questions tomorrow. This will be posted the night before that. We'll have another pod tomorrow, probably with hopefully some answers, maybe. Or we'll have answers to questions. I don't know if we'll have answers, but we'll have answers to questions. But there's no assistant coaches that we know of. I mean, I don't know if Espinoza is still on the roster as an assistant coach.
Right.
There was no goalie coach, no other assistant coach who's been around for a while. There was no scouting department. Which is probably the part of this whole thing. Basically the entire scouting department, I think, was down to Jacob Peterson, right? Who was meant to scout local colleges and minor leagues. All of the stuff. David Lee still has a huge amount of people to hire. And his thing, analytics, he said in the last press conference a couple months ago that it's probably going to be 14 months before he can get that really in place because there's so much other stuff to do. And I know people like, oh, this team's always been bad at doing this, or all the people that's always been bad at this are gone. This is a completely different front office. Can't use that history. The only history there is owners. So if the owners are going, no, David, I don't want you to hire somebody, I don't, that's probably not valid.
So for what it's worth, Sporting's website already has Wicky listed as head coach. And it has Ash Wallace listed as an assistant coach. Roger Espinoza is still listed as professional development. They've got, the sports medicine people, team admin, Jake Peterson still listed as a scout and player recruitment. So it still looks to be built out with people who are still around, which leads me to think Ash Wallace has been retained as has Roger, but
and
who knows?
Again, with him being the new head coach, will he want to retain those?
Right.
And here's one more thing is they're awaiting his P1 visa for him to officially start. Well, if he doesn't have his P1 visa, he can't be coaching in Florida on Sunday, right?
Right.
So Roger, Ash, a couple of local coaches or something, I mean, who knows?
I mean, it's not unheard of for an organization to force assistance on a manager too, though.
Yeah. It's not unheard of. But
Yeah,
with
I
a
would
new
hope, though, with David and his seemingly the way they work together being good, that would not happen.
Well, plus David being new to the organization also. It would usually be like, oh, David would maybe fire Wicky in the future and like, oh, you're going to retain the assistants because to the new person, right? But he's not the one that hired those people. We know Roger. Ash is a good guy. I don't know how good of a coach he is, but I've talked to him before, and I think he's a decent coach. But it's also at the technical level kind of thing.
So Carrie and Thad, are you both going to be there at the presser draw?
Yes.
Okay.
I will be.
So is the question, I think the question should be asked in the proper way, something like, so what was it about the process of choosing a head coach that
took so damn long?
That maybe took longer than you anticipated?
I can't say it took so fucking long. I mean, damn long.
Right. But I hope that question is asked because I want to know. I don't know if we'll get an answer, but I want to know.
Yeah, that question will be asked. If nobody else does, I will.
Yeah.
I also want to ask what made Wicky think that this was the right move for him to come back to MLS in a club that's in this situation at the moment. And if when he answers that, say, well, how different will that be than when you were in Chicago?
You bastard, that. So, Carrie, you started off as the host, but you haven't said much, young lady. What's in your mind?
Earlier, I was just thinking about how, this is not going to be the Sporting that we've all really known to grow and love in the last 10 years. Like, this is the start of a new chapter. And yes, we said that with David Lee, but like, I don't know. I mean, when you have less than 17 or when you only have 17 players and now you have a brand new head coach that's doing just head coaching versus everything else.
So
I don't know.
Is that
you just really think about
disconcerting or is that comforting to you?
No, I think it's more comforting because it gets us more up to speed with other MLS clubs than how the show was being run for the last 10, 15 years.
I agree.
But, end of the day, it also is what it is, whether or not you like the head coach. This is your head coach.
Right. We don't know how it'll be, but it will be different.
Yes.
And sometimes different is good.
It is also fun to know that he played for Chivas USA. So we had
5 games.
Okay, well, we had 1 year of no Tim Melia. No one on the team was connected to Chivas USA, as far as I know. And now we're connected again with Wicky.
That's now, not the comforting. Other part of this equation, of course, is the rumored minority owner becoming more involved, is that happening behind the scenes already in conjunction with these changes? That's interesting.
Sure.
Okay.
I think it is, but I don't know. I can't say that for a fact. I've heard lots of things from people that I really have some trust in, but that I can't like quote.
Right.
So, yes, I do think he's going to be more involved in offering up some cash, some more cash, but we don't know that.
Yeah. Thad, what's really like kind of resonated, something you and Carrie both said, which is how like Carrie was talking about how this is the club that we all fell in love with and how it's going to be different. And you keep talking about how it's going to be different. And what's always interesting to me is, how many players always wanted to come back to Sporting after they left.
Yeah.
Benny came back, Yuri came back, and it, was in no small part due to what Peter built. And Peter built what for a very long time was a very successful franchise and organization.
Yep.
But it's really clear over the last few years that just stopped working. And so I'm excited to see us move forward into a completely different direction. And, I don't want to just get rid of every single player that Peter ever had. I love Jake. Joveljic is a great signing. I'm less excited about Manu, but, there's, the homegrown guys, right? Jake, Bartlett, even Camp. I'm excited to see what's next for them. I don't necessarily want to get them to leave, but there's something to be said for a reset on how the franchise operates and the culture of the locker room and the culture of how the team sets up and practices and goes about their professional business. And the thing that made me so excited about David Lee is modernizing everything and pushing forward into more analytics,
right?
And not having one guy or all of it comes back to Peter.
And you're ready to be patient for all that, correct?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Patience is my middle name.
Yeah, I believe that. Every time, like in the past, when things would be bad and people talk about firing Peter, and I always say it's going to be painful when it happens, and this is what's happened, right?
Right.
Is I don't blame David Lee for coming in and not necessarily retaining all the people that would have been here, or letting them go or whatever. And a lot of them left on their own and stuff like that. So it is still a very sparse staff. And it was last year, it still is until they've hired new people, at least as far as we know. And it is good. It's just it's part of that pain of when you had a guy like Peter who did have great success and then it got really stale and wasn't successful anymore. But that's why it was going to be painful because you still have nobody at the 2 team, no coach there, no assistant coach,
right?
5 players on that roster. The only thing that's been left untouched, as far as I know, is the academy side, and I don't think that will be untouched over the next year. So it'll be interesting, and that's the good part is it'll be interesting. Will it always be good?
That I was going to ask you about what the condition of the 2s were and everything. So thanks for filling that in. But yeah, so we can always be thankful. We're not certain MLS clubs. We've won MLS Cups. We're not the New England Revolution, who are still in a massive NFL stadium, for example, even though there's some light in the soccer specific stadium, even there now. But we can still be very thankful for where we've been and for hopefully where we're headed.
We could also be happy we weren't getting Armas.
Right.
On this side.
Yep. All right. Anything left? I wanted to keep this relatively short, more of a reaction thing. Anybody who's available tomorrow, we will get into this even more. I'm sure it'll be a much longer pod because we can't keep it short. But I'll pull out some audio from quotes and stuff, and hopefully we can do this again tomorrow and talk more about what they've actually said, what the answers are, if we believe them. I'm sure we will.
So Thad, we normally end with Cody asking you to say something prophetic. I want to take a spin on that, and I would like each of you to give me your hottest take. Robert, what's one hot take before we get out of here?
Jeez, why did you have to go to me first?
Because you're glowing red.
Hot take is that Sporting will just miss the playoffs. That's not hot enough, but that's what you're going to get.
Harry Robinson, hot take.
Our first meeting with Wicky, we will lose to the Wicked Witch of the East. And everyone will call for his head.
Purina FC?
Yeah.
Okay. Thaddeus, one hot take.
That you will end this season being happy.
Me?
Yes, you.
Me or people generally?
You.
Oh, well, I'm always happy.
Will you be happy with Wicky at the end of the season?
I'm an eternal optimist, Dad. Yes, of course.
I've always
You're
got
such
that
a
from
liar.
I know I'm an eternal optimist. I'm always optimistic.
That's my hot take. How about
I
yours?
love it. I think Wicky will give us a lot of glimpses of something really special, and he will give us some real stinkers, and that the highs will be extremely high and the lows will be extremely low. And this is not a hot take, but this is what you're going to get from me, much like Robert. Reddit and Cauldron Facebook are going to be insane this year.
So you're saying it's just like deja vu?
Worse.
We are out.
Can I don't give a damn if it's 9 a.m. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. Just been sent off. Supporters strong have all gone soft. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. Give me beer or whiskey, wine or gin, anything to shake this mood I'm in. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking. My football team's got me drinking.